that match up for both sides. So we'll see.
Aaron, when it comes to priorities in your mind as manager, what would be the top two?
Well, first and foremost, like our roster right now, like all the people that we have that we know are going to be with us, it's trying to make sure, they're in the best position to have the right kind of winner, physically, mentally, like all those things to where they're putting themselves in the best position to, have the best season they can, to be healthy. So that's kind of the focus, which it always is. That's so that first and foremost. And then, look, I know you guys have all covered and writing about where the spots on our roster where we want to improve. But you go into this and you have those things, but it comes down to matching up. So sometimes you're able to attack a specific, need or hole. Sometimes that doesn't come to fruition, and you gotta try and make hay on another part that may be a strength you have. So, because it takes so many people to tango in this, so you just see where the winner takes you. I mean, we want to get better, and that's the focus.
Well, in your estimation, where do you need to get better?
Well, I mean, you're asking for like, we need a left fielder, and we need this and that.
Yeah.
I mean, those are obvious things, but again, it's where are you allowed to go? Where do you match up with other clubs? So sometimes one move can make the need something else, and again, that's partly what front office is working through right now.
Aaron, I know you can't talk trades, free agency, but in general, when you've been around Soto, what do you like about him as a player?
I mean, he's as good an offensive player as there is, right? I mean, he's a machine offensively, on base, power. Has accomplished a ton already at a young age. Durable. Has been a central figure in a world championship team. Has come with a lot of fanfare and been one of the, rock solid performers in our sport on the offensive side of the ball year in and year out. He's a great player.
Aaron, how tough an offseason has been for you since the end of the regular season?
Well, how tough? It's the off season, and you're consumed with trying to get better. I mean, that's no different than, frankly, any other off season. We live and breathe this, 365 days a year. So, obviously this season, was a disappointing one for us. But anytime you're not the last team standing, whether we're in a championship series or whether we win 82 games and don't make the playoffs, it's a tough pill to swallow, and you go in and you're uber focused on trying to improve and get better.
When you hear some of the names being discussed, how much do you allow yourself to think about what it would be like?
A lot, always. I mean, that's part of the winner. Especially when you're talking about a lot of different possibilities that could exist. You certainly try and, from my standpoint, from a managerial standpoint, how you plug those things in and how you see it, working out. So, yeah, I think you let your mind go there a little bit and consider what different moves might mean for us.
What made you so excited about what you saw from Michael King?
Michael King?
Yeah.
I think he took what we've seen really in his growth the last couple of years, and then showed he could go do it, in a starter's role and, pitching into the later innings with a full clip of pitches by the end. His fastball command is outstanding. When you have fastball command to both sides of the plate like he does, and have the ability with the 2-seam, 4-seam, and then have the secondary weapons that he has, he's got all the ingredients to be a really good starting pitcher. Is now, the next step for him was getting stretched out and being able to do it in that starter role, and he kind of looked like the same guy that we've seen, and that's been a really dominant reliever for us the last couple of years.
What do you view as the next step for Boone at the plate?
I mean, just the all-around consistency. I've said with you guys a lot, I do feel like in his DNA is a guy that has a chance to really control the strike zone, and that's an area where, he's got to improve and I think will continue to improve. And I think when we look up, hopefully we see those improvements this year, but I think when you look up years from now, like, he's going to be a guy that gets on base and has that ability combined with some power and obviously speed. But I think it's just tightening up that strike zone discipline, and then also being able to, take away, where teams found some holes and could exploit. And that's all part of being not just a young big leaguer, but a big leaguer. It's a game of adjustments and being able to constantly do that as a hitter. And I think Anthony's makeup, intelligence, ability will allow him to do that.
What was your takeaway from those 3 days of meetings in Tampa?
I mean, a lot. I mean, they were long and aggressive and open and honest. So I think it was just probably a deeper, look in the mirror and evaluation and trying to make sure we're doing everything we can to, look, you're trying to improve every area of our team really on the margins. You're trying to get a little bit better in every area, and so you're looking at those things. And again, I mean, that's not just this winter, that's everywhere. Now, I think going through a season where we don't make the playoffs, which is obviously a really big deal, I think we wanted to take an even harder, more pointed look at that and kind of get in a room and really challenge each other where we feel like was needed. So I think it in some ways kind of refocused us on exactly what we want to do and how we want to go about doing it, and now it's on us over these past few weeks, but the next weeks leading into spring training to put ourselves in a good spot to make sure we're the best we can be.
Was there something that you personally are looking to change?
I think there's probably some little things that I'll do a little bit different or be a little more hands-on in some certain situations. But at the same time, it's really important for me to, empower my coaching staff to do their job too. And I don't like to micromanage those kind of things. But there are areas that, I have my eye on that I'll make sure I'm a little more involved.
How do you handicap your catching situation entering spring?
I think we've done a really good job of building a lot of depth, I think, from a catching standpoint. Industry-wide, I think that's always an area where teams are looking, and we feel really good. Obviously, having Trevi back, Trevi's doing great. I think the loss of him last year was enormous for us. I don't want to understate how important I think Jose is to our team and to our clubhouse and to what a force he is in our room. And we missed that. But we saw Austin Wells come up and really get an opportunity. We're excited about his future. Obviously, Kyle Higashioka has established himself now as a veteran, really good backstop. Ben Rorvet got a chance last year, came up and was Garrett's, was catching Garrett down the stretch of a Cy Young season and showed he could more than handle that. We're excited about Narvaez. We're excited about the depth that's happening in our catching situation. So I feel like catcher-wise, we're in a pretty good spot organizationally.
What's the latest on Rizzo and you expecting to be full go for spring training?
Yeah, Riz is doing great. He stayed back. He was in New York pretty much all of October and even into November, coming into the stadium and working out. I would say by the end of the season, he was probably game ready and ready to go. So he's in really good shape. And yeah, I expect him to be able to have a normal winter, or he's in the middle of a normal winter of training and getting ready, and I know he's really excited.
Even though he's in the clear, does he still need to see doctors, get checkups over the next couple of months?
I don't know when his next checkup, but I know he had, up until the end of the season. So I don't know exactly. I just know he's cleared and ready to roll, and now it's about going out and proving it to himself.
How about Dominguez? 8 games last year. I don't know how his rehab's going, but when he's healthy, is he your center fielder, or is that
Well,
very future for you?
I mean, that's the thing, Randy. I mean, you don't know where we're in early December. Who knows where the roster, if there's trades made, or, so you don't know what your roster looks like. All I can tell you is, from my standpoint, I think Jason's going to be an awesome player in this league, and not just because he came up and obviously burst onto the scene with some really good games before he got injured. I love the makeup. I love the talent. And I'm excited about his future. As a center fielder, as a left fielder potentially down the road in our yard, depending on what our roster makeup is. You never know. He's capable of all that. I think he's capable of hitting in the middle of the order from both sides. He brings athleticism to the table. And as far as his rehab, it's going exactly how it should be going right now.
8 games, though, is that enough to know if he's major league ready or not?
Well, I mean, we called him up because we thought he was major league ready. I mean, so now it's, on him and us to go prove it when he gets that next opportunity, when he's ready to go. And so you never want to overreact to things that happen over the course of a week or 2 weeks. I can tell you, leaving spring training, my opinion of him is this guy's going to be a really good player in this league, and nothing. I think that's only been enhanced by some of the things we've seen throughout this year, throughout his small opportunity when he did get called up. And the fact that surgery went well and he's doing well is exciting for all of us.
Do you know when he'll be able to start swinging?
I don't know. I don't know the protocols, but he's online. I mean, I'm sure he'll be swinging when we're in spring training. So, yeah.
I heard about, you just said it's wasted for the roster to settle.
Yeah.
But you don't have a contract out this year. You have a new bench coach, hitting instructor. So for you personally, does it feel kind of a little unsettled right now? No. You guys know me well enough that I'm consumed with getting back to the playoffs and winning it all. Like that's where my brain is, and that's where my focus is, and what my role is in that. And whatever happens at the end of it, it truly is out of my control right now. Like, this is about getting us ready from my standpoint as best we can, and get to spring training and prepare to try and win a championship. And that's where my focus is, and we'll see how it ends.
What have your conversations been like with Giancarlo since he's at?
Yeah, geez, I'm really excited about Giancarlo's. He and I had good conversations at the end of the year. I haven't talked to him a lot this winter. I've texted with him and talked to him a couple times. All I can tell you is he's getting after it. He's always a very focused person and player. I would say that's on overdrive to make sure he's in a really good spot heading into spring training, and I think he's consumed with making sure that he goes out there and has a Giancarlo-like season. And
Aaron, do you think that Yamamoto would look great in that strike?
yeah, I think he probably would. Yeah.
Do you plan to meet him? Have you met him? Could you give me some?
I've met him once before in the past, actually. And I do plan on meeting him again, yes.
Aaron, your organization had boots on the ground pretty much throughout the season in Japan watching him. What were some of the reports that you've heard from you're evaluating who are over there?
You know, it's hard to find a 25-year-old, is that what he's 25? 25-year-old pitcher that's as decorated as he is and has had the level of success he's had at this point in his career over there and on the world stage in the WBC. Our reports are that this guy's really good, as I think the industry sees it the same way, and it feels like there's going to be a lot of suitors for him. But I feel quite confident that he's going to come over here and be a really special top of the rotation type pitcher.
What were the circumstances you met him once before?
I just in kind of passing at some point in the winter, he was in a place that I was, and I got introduced to him, so that was it.
When you're evaluating an international free agent, you and your club,
Yeah.
anything tangible that may be unknown compared to if you're evaluating a domestic player, maybe metrics that they don't have, or technology tools, anything like that that presents more of a risk maybe?
I mean, I guess it's because it's a different league, and there is more of an unknown, I guess. But that's why you have scouts, and that's why you have eyeballs on it, and you can measure things, you know, in a pretty sophisticated way these days. So, you know, you're able to at least gather a lot of relevant and important information in making a decision or an evaluation about a player, and then ultimately that's the art of all of this is, you know, how good of an evaluator are. And, you know, I think in the case of Yamamoto, he's, you know, this isn't a nuanced, you know, like diamond in the rough. This is I think everyone sees him as a pretty special frontline type starter.
The judge thought at the end of last season that he thought there should be some changes, maybe on how you guys look at analytics, and thought Hal said there might be some subtle changes.
Yeah.
What in your mind is going to change from last year on how you guys handle hitting? And
I think just hopefully being better at how we do things, how we feed our players information, how we get individuals ready. And that's, you know, I think one of the biggest challenges of the job now in 2023 is there's so much, you know, great information for players. And then it's always like, what's best for and tapping into individual players. And there's some players that eat up information and can handle a lot of information, and it goes a long way in helping them become the players they expect to be. Other guys, it's like get out of their way and let them go play. And you know, part of our job as coaches, as an organization, is to recognize that and be a little bit, and one of the things at being better at how we do disseminate things and make sure our guys are in the best position to go out and be successful.
Last one, guys. We got somebody coming behind you.
Carlos this offseason, how confident are you that he can bounce back next year?
Rodon. I just saw him the other day. He was in town. He looks great. You know, he's one of those guys. It's like making sure that we take care of the winter with him, and making sure that foundationally that he's in a great spot coming into spring training. I think he's off to a really good start the first half of the winter here. You know, making sure that his workout regimen, his throwing program, and his build-up is all airtight, and making sure he's in the best position to when he gets into spring training that he's coming in with a great foundation. And obviously last year did not go the way he wanted or any of us wanted to. And again, like, you never want that to happen, but at the same time it can also be, you know, one of those sobering reminders of how difficult and challenging this game can be, and how important obviously health is. But hopefully it's one of those things that just refocuses you that much more to make sure you're in a great position. And the best thing I can say about Carlos is, you know, he's got a lot of ability, and that hasn't gone away. It's just making sure he's in the best position to get it out, and that's what we're all on board with helping him do.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.